Welcome to the Random Horror Show. I am Keisha Lacey, your horror hostess. And here at the Random Horror Show, where I will be talking about being silly, goofy, and crazy and random, and just all over the damn place. But we can always come back to the main point in horror, science fiction, fantasy, cult classics, and the obscure in movies, television shows, and books. And thank you so much for listening to this Texas horror podcast coming straight out of the Piney Woods, better known as the Iron Pine Curtain. And tonight, I have a special guest as I sit down with the man of the hour who have written and directed Hellvan, which blew me away. I watched it 3 damn times. It's a wonderful, wonderful film. And you get to hear everything what Mr. Delarosa has had to say as he stopped by the Random Horror Show, had the chit chat, and chop it up with your girl. As I present to you, my horror fiends and fans, Random Horror Chat with Jorge Delarosa. Let me say it again. I gotta sound sexy with it. Jorge Delarosa. Jorge Delarosa. Jorge Delarosa. Well, thank you so much for joining the Random Horror Show. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the man of the hour that's behind Hellvan, Jorge De La Rosa.
Hello,
Say hello
ladies and gentlemen.
to
Hello.
everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a pleasure of having you on this show. Oh my gosh, I just cannot wait to pick your brain, and I'm just so in love with Hellvan. I really am.
I listened to the podcast about it today, and thank you so much for the glowing reviews. It's hard to believe you watched it 3 times. That's wild.
Yes, I did. I did watched it 3 times. When I did tell you that when I got out of Terrifier 2 and your movie popped in my head. I sat in my car and I was just discombobulated. And I'm just like, and then Hellvan popped in my head. I was like, Hellvan is so much better in the theaters.
That would be
I
nice.
shit you not, man. I shit you not. I mean, your movie popped in my head. And I think it does need like a pretty like bigger, wide audience and a recognition.
Well, I'm trying.
Um,
I'm trying.
well, you're doing a hell of a good job because you're having all these showings, these theater showings. Because I've been watching and following you on Instagram, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're getting the film festival circuit is pretty competitive, and
Hmm.
so we're getting maybe one out of every 5 submissions selected. So it's a little depressing, but also it is what it is. We made a dirty grindhouse movie that the palette isn't for everyone, and coming out of COVID, a lot of people probably made a lot of good films, and we were competing against them. So, but I think that Hellvan has legs and can run for a long time. I believe
Oh,
I believe in it.
I believe in it too because first of all, the title alone is eye catching.
It was meant to be a joke. The,
Well,
the killer van for the van. The tag is a hell van. It's a van. It's about a van from hell.
that's the reason why I like it.
And then I was,
It's
it was it was meant to sound stupid so that the audience didn't expect much from the movie, right? And then what you do is you lower the expectation of the audience so that when they come out of it, they're like, you know what, that was damn fun. It was better than I thought it would be. That was the idea of it, making a dumb name.
well, You executed it very well.
Thank you. We executed it very well. There was a big team
Oh yeah,
behind us.
yeah, your team. I'm just yeah, give props to the team and stuff. Y'all did a damn good job. Y'all executed it very well,
Thank you.
and I was like literally just impressed by about everything about Hellband. I mean, I have, well, how would I put it? As a horror reviewer, watching movies, whatever, TV shows, etc. I noticed that a lot of people hype a lot of stuff, and when they get to watch it, their expectations literally, pun intended, goes to hell.
Right.
And like I just watched this past weekend of the reimagine. Oh gosh, that word reimagine of
Right.
Hellraiser.
Right.
Is it, you can hear my
I
tears.
hear it. It's never going to be as good as Clive Barker's original. That movie is genius. It's
And the movie,
underrated, underappreciated.
it really is. It's very underappreciated, and I mean, when I review it, I do look at the good things, the bad things, the worst parts about it, because I don't want to sit there and just tell everyone, "Oh yeah, it's a great movie." You're just gonna get my honest opinion about it, my honest review.
Right.
The special effects was amazing.
Oh, well, that's great.
I know, yeah, I know there was some lot of shit on the internet, especially in the horror community, about, I guess, Jamie or something. She you know, played the new Pinhead, and people was like upset about that. They were on the fence. I don't. I'm like, it's a fictitious character. I'm like, who
Right,
gives a
right.
shit? You know?
It's a Cenobite, a demon from hell or some dimensional hell. Like,
It,
yeah, it doesn't matter.
exactly.
Gender doesn't matter there.
I'm just like, who gives a shit?
Right,
About
right.
that. I'm like,
The
ugh.
question is the story good? Was the acting good? Was the cinematography good? Was the music good? Right,
Yeah, yeah. That's what I look for: cinematography, the lighting, the acting, the
right.
storyline. Uh, everything like about it, but I would say I didn't like the characters. I didn't care about them. I just didn't, and I was like, I don't give two shits about these people.
Oh,
um
yeah, yeah. You got to kind of care about the people.
I did not care. I tried, and I can't. I just didn't. It just left me like, oh, I'm just watching a bunch of strangers running around from Cenobites.
Yeah,
That's just how I looked at it. Well, when you watch um Hellraiser, 1987, god dang, you care about them so much. You care about Kirsty, her dad Larry.
yeah.
You love the sinister, like the depravity of Frank.
Oh, yeah,
Frank,
yeah,
I
yeah.
hated
He was a
Frank.
monster. He was a terrible
He,
person.
he was a terrible person. He was just like a sexual deviant, but he was so religious. It was just it's just with him. It was like, oh, you have this going on, like these two sides of him. It has a lot of complexity and richness with all of those characters. You even have Julia. Um, we all know the whole story between Julia and Frank,
Right,
but you cared so much about them, they became your favorites. Even you hated Julia of who she really is. You love her. I love Julia. She is like the wicked queen. It is, and Hellraiser is basically a fractured fairy tale. I mean, you love that about Hellraiser. But this one, I just didn't give a shit.
uh,
I did not give a shit about the characters. I forgot that actor's name. He was in ER. Um, Gordon Vishesky, or I can't pronounce it. I butcher people's names,
yeah.
but
I
he.
gotta be honest with you. I think the last Hellraiser I saw was, I think I stopped around 8, Hellraiser Part 8, maybe. I don't even remember, but I know they've
I
made a few since then, and I just haven't tuned in. So
I think that. uh, to me, I think they just like just ran with it, like how Hollywood is, or they just run with the franchise
Yeah,
to like get
squeeze it.
more
You
money.
milk it. You milk it
They
for all it's worth.
milking it. That's exactly what they did, and I stopped.
Right.
I think it was the one that was in outer space. You could tell I can't remember. The three of the Hellraiser movies is Hell on Earth, and I seen in theaters.
Right.
That was very fun to watch. It had Terry Farrell from Star Trek.
Right.
She was in it. That was very, and of course that was the height of Deep Space Nine. Um, one and two came out when I was 34th grade, so I had to catch them, on DVD,
Right. Right. Right.
as
Right.
a teenager. So, and I also read a lot of Clive Barker's novella and things like that. So I'm a huge Clive Barker fan, but I know Clive Barker was the producer behind this reimagined one.
How do you feel about Lord of Illusions?
Oh man, I love Lord of
No,
Illusion.
I
I
haven't seen that in a while, but I was working at the movie theater when that came out, and man, I loved watching that movie. I thought it was great.
That was Lord of Illusions is my heart.
Heck yeah.
I mean, shit, the neo noir style. I love that. I love any movies like Nightmare Alley, Catch a Deadly Spell, any movie that has that neo noir, gumshoe style with it. I love it. But it was a modern day neo noir supernatural film. Lord of Illusions is part of my heart. I love Hellraiser and Pinhead, but Lord of Illusions is my heart, and I did a episode of it, and it's coming out this month.
Oh, nice.
But
Awesome.
yeah, and it's a love story too.
Right. Honestly, I haven't seen it since, man, maybe, 98 or whenever it came out. So I gotta, but I remember loving that movie.
It came out in 95. Yes, I was
90
a
95. Also, another one I have to revisit. I haven't seen Nightbreed in forever either. I need to get a hold of that.
Oh yeah, I know. I want to watch Nightbreed.
Yeah.
I think
Put
it was.
that on the list.
Yeah, I put that on it. I think it was last year when I rewatched Nightbreed.
Yeah.
Oh man, I remember that I was 12 when it came out, and remember MTV at the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they they had like this big marketing like Nightbreed, coming out. I
Right.
forgot the guy's name, but he was the host of the show, Chris something. He was like talking about Nightbreed, and you see this interview with Clive and Craig Schaefer, and I mean, there's people that cracked on it, but I was like, come on now, you have David Cronenberg on. You have David Cronenberg. Come on, come on, cuz David Cronenberg, Scanners to fly.
Right. Right. Right.
I mean, he's the man of body horror and stuff, but they just crapped on it. But I was like, David Cronenberg played a damn good villain in this movie.
I'll have to see it again. It's been a while. Been too long, probably.
As is, I believe I did an episode of Nightbreed. I think it was last year
Last year.
podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, of Nightbreed, and um, I don't know why everybody was just slap out slow tripping on Nightbreed. And y'all, I'm like, y'all full of shit.
Right.
But
All
let's go into just talking about Hellbent and
right.
slow meat
Back to
production.
Hellman.
Yes, I know. Like, how did you? I mean, you haven't already told us, told us about like how Hellbent came about, but like, how was like the process of coming up with slow meat production? By the way, I love slow meat. I love the name of that. I actually have the sticker on my back of my car.
Oh, awesome.
Slow meat
Wow, that's
production.
great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm repping. I'm repping.
Heck yeah.
So, how did you get into filmmaking, and what was like a lot of the inspiration, just not only from Hellvan, but just the whole party of everything that you do?
Well, I think that filmmaking is just in my blood. I have an uncle who's a cinematographer.
Hmm.
He's won some awards. He was the cinematographer in a Mexican film called La Otra Conquista. And
Hmm.
it's pretty darn good. It's about the Spanish conquest of the Aztecs. And I have another uncle. He made a film in the early 70s called Fantoche. And
Mhm.
I'm actually trying to get that subtitled in English and distributed here in the United States. But yeah, I have it's in my blood, it's in my family. I've always loved cinema. My father's always loved movies. When my parents divorced, he and I would go to the movie theater,
Mhm.
and then we lived fairly close to a video rental store, and I had a weekly allowance. I could go and rent VHS movies and binge watch them. And so yeah, I've just always loved movies,
Mhm.
and I've always loved vans. Almost every vehicle I've ever owned has been a van, and that's
Yeah.
probably a direct result of my father, who was a musician,
Mhm.
and he would always tell me, the van is the best way to transport equipment, valuable equipment.
Mhm.
And so I guess I have had an affinity for vans, and I got to a point. I said I'm going to make a killer van movie, and I got drunk one night on eBay. I bought a van that belonged to a fire station in the city of Opp, Alabama. Uh, Drove down and picked it up, and drove it home. And about an hour away from home, the engine blew up, and I had it towed to my mechanics, and my mechanic's house burnt down.
Damn.
And yeah, yeah, and I said, "Well, there's the story, right? It was a van that belonged to a fire department, and the one of the volunteer firefighters was an arsonist." And then I would just go to a comedy open mic here in Kent, Ohio,
Mhm.
at the Euro Gyro. I'd
Mhm.
drink a pitcher of beer, and I'd write death scenes, and that's how I wrote Hellvan. And then eventually, I wrote enough death scenes. I said, "Well, I better try and flesh these characters out, and have try and make this all make sense." I wrote it out of order. I didn't write it like a beginning, middle, end.
Right.
It just was a hodgepodge of scenes that I had to thread together, and then with a rewrite, make it tighter, and then a third draft,
Mhm.
make it real tight.
Mhm.
And then going into the fourth draft, I said, "Screw it, let's just start shooting." So yeah, and that's how we made Hellvan. We didn't have financing. I self-financed the movie.
Mhm.
I've basically bankrupted myself. I'm still, skirting that $0 mark in my bank account. It sucks, but um, I've gotten a lot of fun and joy out of it. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the movie.
Oh, I'm gonna say it like this. So there's a lot of inspiration behind all that. Just starting off with just getting that van on eBay and good old Alabama
Yeah,
closed up and um now I see now it makes so much sense. And for that other part, the financing, it will come up. It will come back up,
yeah,
you know.
right, right.
It
Just a
will.
little bit.
I mean,
It's just I get a paycheck and then I put all that money into the promotion of the movie. I thought that once the movie was finished, I'd be
mhm.
able to pad my account a little bit, but it's like no, no. It turns out when you're going to these conventions and you're hawking the movie, it all costs a little bit of money. So
Yeah, it did.
yeah,
It
right.
does. It really does.
It does.
But look at like but the optimistic side of it is it's gaining a lot of attention.
Well, I hope so. Little by little. I told a co-producer. I said, Listen, man, if I have to individually sell 1 million copies to 1 million
Hmm.
people, you know,
Hmm.
to become a millionaire, then that's what I'm gonna have to do."
Shoot, I
Like,
would too.
heck yeah. But no, no, I'm hoping that I can sell the movie and get the money for the sequel, because we're gonna have a good time with the part two. It'll be bigger
and
and better.
I said I want to be in the sequel.
We've learned some lessons from part one. We'll make all new mistakes with part two.
Oh, I feel that like part, Hellman. I've seen a little bit of the mistakes, but you know what? I just like, wow, this is like so fucking amazing. And you know, I was gonna discuss about the different genres that I seen in this movie. Especially with the beginning sequence, coming in and have like this narration with it. I wanted to ask you this question.
Sure.
Who is the guy that was eating the dinner and then all of a sudden it switches and he's just like devouring like this piece of meat and he's in the nude? Who is that guy?
Well, that's my father, Rogelio De La Rosa.
Well, he played his part. He played the shit out of that part because I was like, oh, okay, who's this guy right here? I'm like, okay, dinner. And then it just said boom.
Mhm.
And I was like, whoa, what is this right here?
Him
He
getting
played the
naked.
shit out
Him
of that
getting
part.
naked was his idea. My father is a party animal. He can puts us all to shame. All us young kids, he puts us to shame. But
Oh, I like your dad.
oh yeah, the man knows how to party. And I said, Dad, I want to film you as the man who is pretending to be civilized, and then the man who is raw, and you're going to be dirty and filthy and eating raw meat. And he instantly said, and I'm going to be naked. And I was like, okay. And if you if you get a copy of the Blu-ray, there's a making of, and at the very end, you get to see the process of getting him dirty. It's not pretty.
Yeah. But yeah, but yeah, your dad is in rare form. And I can't believe that's your dad. Like, bravo to your dad right there. That's what I'm talking about right there. He looks like he would put everybody to shame. He just
Yeah,
did.
right, exactly. I should have made him the town sheriff, maybe. I don't know. He's hard to work with sometimes.
Well, I think you should put him in the second one
Ha.
because
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, put him in the second one because I mean, that's what I was like, whoa. I was like, damn, that's pretty awesome. Because it reminded me of something like out of Twin Peaks. Because yeah, it did. It just reminds me of something like we have the little dwarf guy that's like did all the dancing, but he was talking backwards
Right.
throughout the Twin Peaks show.
Right.
And it has that similar, like the similarity of that, when Agent Dale Cooper goes into these fever dreams when he's, about Bob and all that. And you have like little homeboy, like okay, whatever. But your dad was pretty freaking cool. I actually showed it to Helvan that part to this guy, and
Yeah.
I was talking like just mad props to you and your team in the movie. And that part I showed him to, I was like, man, look at this. I'm like, this is badass. And when he's seeing it, he just like I think he's just, some people are just not like really like big into like they think, they're more like in a safe horror.
Right.
But when he's seen that, he was like, that's a little weird. I was like, but it's genius. That I'm like, but it's genius. I was like, and I'm talking to this guy on Sunday. He's like, oh really? I was like, yeah, because I'm gonna ask him questions about that scene because damn, that motherfucking scene was fire.
Well, the
And then
idea,
and it does, and it pulls you, and it really pulls you in like, oh my gosh, what else is coming up next? I
right,
like that.
the idea was to let the audience know what they were getting right away. Like, hey, stay
Like,
tuned. It's gonna get crazy.
oh, it got crazy, it got wild with it. It really did. But but I've seen so many genres in it. The two rock wallers of Zildjian and Sabian. I was like, those are drum sets. But how did y'all get those dogs to act perfect?
Oh, I was hoping that they'd be a little scarier, but and but we actually filmed that
Mhm.
junkyard scene in October of 2019
Mhm.
with the actor who plays Garth. His name is Matt Anderson, and he has a dog, a pity named Sabian, and Sabian has a blue eye and a brown eye,
Mhm.
and uh, so we're like, well, we're gonna shoot the scene. I wrote it to be two Rottweilers,
Mhm.
and it was like, you know what? Let's try and just use Sabian. I don't know where I can get Rottweilers,
Mhm.
and uh, she that dog was just too happy the entire night. She was smiling and her tongue was hanging out, and she did
Mhm.
not look frightening. And um, and Matt, the Sabian's owner,
Mhm.
kind of didn't seem afraid enough of that dog. So a year later, I was like, we got to go. I'm like, I'm gonna get two Rottweilers like the way I wrote it, and we're gonna go
Mhm.
back out and we're gonna rent the junkyard again
Mhm.
and reshoot that night scene with the dogs.
Mhm.
And so in the next town over, there's a guy. His name is Bill Whited, and he raises German shepherds and rots, and he raises dogs for security and for the police department for police
Mhm.
departments, and he trains them. And he had those two rots were his like two main breeding rots that were very comfortable with him, and
Mhm.
so he came out and we had a lot of fun shooting with those two dogs, and they still look like they're pretty happy. But he was up on top of the van with his
Mhm.
bite guard, and the dogs, when they see that thing, they love to attack it. And that's kind of how we got all those shots where he was in the background taunting the dogs, and then we'd let the dogs run loose and they'd go crazy. So, but nobody was in. Oh,
Sweet.
and so when Matt Anderson, when he's running away from the dogs, like he was actually running, like he was afraid. He was actually afraid he was going to get his ass bit. But no, that wasn't ever gonna happen. So we had it under control. It was a fun night, a long night, but another fun night.
Well, it looks fun, and a fantastic job with the Rottweilers.
The Rottweilers, yeah.
It's a fantastic job.
Hmm.
Now, the gore part, the bloodiness, the grossness of it, which I like that y'all did not hold back um on on the special effects, the practical effects, and I can tell that this is not like a lot of people like that have safe horror. You
Yeah,
didn't you didn't want to have safe horror. That's the appeal. Another appeal about it is that you didn't hold nothing back in this movie,
no,
and I appreciate that. Just as a horror fan, that I'm so sick of some of these movies are having being safe horror. I'm like, why would you want to put horror in a box? Horror is not intended to be in a damn box.
right.
Period.
I
But
honestly, I thought that I didn't have enough blood and guts, but
I think you had like the right amount blood and guts. I mean, because hell, I was sitting there telling you play by play what I liked about.
right. We had a big special effects team. It was Ron George. He's out of Cleveland, Ohio. He's great. Karen Roberts, who works with Blind Sight Productions, and
Mm-hmm.
she's phenomenal. Angel O'Connor out of Pittsburgh. Danny Batone out of Cuyahoga Falls, Cleveland area. Trying to think. Oh yeah, Michaela Simonson. Yeah, we had a big special effects team, and it was a lot of fun working with all of them. Sometimes all these artists are freelance, and they're
Mm-hmm.
they're hopping from film production to film production. So if somebody couldn't make it, we'd have to find somebody else to come and make it, because we
Yeah.
shot the movie over 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and because that's I'm self-financing it, and that's just like, okay, I've saved up enough money to be able to afford this. So
Yeah.
basically that's how the movie played out, unfortunately. But Not unfortunately. I'm satisfied with it. But yeah, we had a
I
great special effects team, and we had a pretty dedicated and talented cast and crew working on the movie.
oh and it shows too. It really shows. Um, because I was like, wow, this not only the production, the special effects team, down to the actors, the writing, and it shows like in a lot of the people that you had. They put their heart and soul into it,
Right.
and they had that they have a lot of fun, and that's what makes it. That's what just makes it the movie. Is just how all of y'all just put everything into it because you believe in it. And I seen that. I really seen that. And I've seen where people would put something on, say, "Oh, it's a horror," and they just slapped it. You just slap something together,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they get so they get so many fans, and people just think they're like, oh, they're so cool, and they get very popular, and wherever how our society is. um I live in my own little world. Sometimes I have to come back, and it's like, oh, okay, y'all good and everything, let me go back to my world.
Right.
And a lot of it is just such mediocre bullshit.
Well, I
And
mean, some. I don't think. I mean, maybe some people are just half-assing it. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's mediocre. No, I call it what it is. They're just, yeah, they half-ass it, and then it's just fucking mediocre.
yeah,
I mean, come on, dude. I live in a place where people are just straight up mediocre, and I'm just like, whoa. Maybe because of like my family, blue collar, working class, but then on my mom's side, educated, upper, middle class and everything. So I have like the blue collar worth ethic, and then I have that. So it's like I'm in two worlds. So so I can see both sides. I find it pretty interesting, but it can be a little lonely. It may sound like I'm being a bit pretentious, but well, that's my dad's side. God, those motherfuckers are some damn pretentious assholes. But but um but no, like I can see like what is quality and what's not quality. And I can't stand when I see somebody that actually literally, I mean, just put everything, you know, so much into it, from the cast, the crew, and everything else, like with Hellvan. And then you have like something of that's gained so much popularity, and people just like make a shine of it because it's kind of like in the trend of something or whatever.
yeah.
And it kind of it is, and it can be disheartening for some people, but I like to show people that, like, hey, just because this is not like super trendy or super popular or whatever, that look at this right here. These people like actually made a movie, and this is actually a fucking good grindhouse or you know um action movie. And and I think it needs like that recognition right there, because you
Thank
can
you.
tell the difference. I mean, and I was in theater. I did, and also did makeup, all of that. I've been in stage theater and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, you could tell, like, I have like somewhat of a background, like in like of that department, and that's what I always look for. Not just we watched, you watch a movie, and it's always been like that with me because when I was a little kid, I always watched movies. Always look for who directed it, who's key grip, special effects, who fucking water in the food and stuff like that. Who's on dolly.
Right.
I pay attention to things like that. I mean, I pay attention when I read the credits. I pay attention to that. Who did the sound? And by the way, the soundtrack. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
man,
I'm
where
proud.
did you
I'm
find
proud of
those
it.
guys?
What's that?
Where did you find them?
Find who?
Those. Oh my God, the people who did the soundtrack.
Oh, those are all. So that's been, I've cultivated friendships with a lot of musicians in my lifetime, and I called in a lot of favors. We
Hmm.
recorded 10 bands in 7 days in my basement studio. I transformed my basement into a recording studio. I had my good friend Brian Wolbert bring all of his
Hmm.
decent recording gear to the house, and we
Hmm.
set him up in the living room and ran lines down into the basement. And we drank a lot of beer and we drank a lot of whiskey, and some of the guys enjoyed some reefer. We cooked for everybody. We had bands stay the night. But yeah, we recorded 10 bands in 7 days in my basement, and it was like basically a week long party, and uh, and it's awesome. I'm very very proud of that soundtrack. I think it's part of the fun of the movie.
It is
You
part of
know,
the fun of the
we
movie,
just
and
it's like it's the slow mutants way is to challenge ourselves and to go bigger uh, than we've ever been. To try and set the bar higher than what we can actually reach and attempt to reach it. And sometimes we're successful. You know, that's
oh,
uh,
well,
that's
I
that's our my ethic, my motivation.
the whole 7 days of bands recording, that sounds like a music documentary in itself.
And
Um,
we had behind the scenes crews running the whole time. During the recording of the soundtrack, during the making of the movie. There's an hour long special feature on the making of the movie on the Blu-ray, which we just put together, and it's pretty entertaining. Um,
nice.
but yeah, it's chaos, total chaos. A lot of dumb accidents. Nobody getting hurt. Just like, well, we have to call the fire department. We lost control of the fire. You know, Nobody was in danger. We did everything right. I had a safety crew there. It's just, uh,
Dead.
yeah, that's a funny, it's a story. Even going big, as far as going big, even in that commentary, even in the commentary that you
uh,
have, we got 28 people on that commentary. That's
I
insane.
haven't
That's
read.
insane.
I haven't read through the commentary yet.
Yeah, there's 28 people on the commentary track. Not, I didn't record it. I recorded us in groups of 4 or 5.
Hmm.
But still, it's pretty awesome.
That sounds insane.
Mm,
Oh,
mm-hmm.
the whole 7 days of bands. I got to thinking. I was like, damn. It takes me back to my college years when I got out of high school, and there was these guys. One of them is actually a he does theater in New York on Broadway, off and on, and the bass guitarist. Me and him used to be real good friends, like all through high school, and I don't know what happened. He just got really jaded and bitter, like after 3 marriages. And I was
Oh
like, I think
yeah,
it's
three
you. I'm
marriages.
like, oh,
Lordy, lordy.
yeah. And I was like, oh, dude, I think it's you, not them. I was like, and I know all your three ex-wives, and I think it's you, because he kind of got the bitching one night, and I'm just like, oh my god. I was like, I can't. I was like, it was very negative. I can understand he was frustrated, but he just kept going and going and going, and I'm like, bro, I've been divorced for like pretty good while, and I can't. He was basically stuck.
Yeah,
um but kind of like, we go and tiptoe, kind of, distance him a little bit.
yeah.
But he was the bassist. There was another guy named Shannon. He was the guitarist, and I was like the the chick that sat on the couch. It felt like something out of Scott Pilgrim. I watched him, play. I actually shadowed a lot of Neil's moves because he was the drummer.
Hmm.
And this dude drums so fast. So they got pretty popular, and I believe they signed on with Interscope Records.
Oh wow.
And when yeah, they were about to hit their big break until Neil quit, and he was like, "I'm done."
Why?
And he moved, and I don't know, I have no idea. I was trying to get it out of him, like, what happened? Like, what happened? And why did Neil quit? So he just didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
What they said, and he moved to New York and became an actor.
Oh wow.
But they tried to get somebody to replicate Neil's drum style.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cannot do it because Neil was a fast drummer. He is like his drumming skills was like right up there with like Lars Ulrich, over I can't pronounce his last name
Right.
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 From Metallica. Yeah, he
Right.
was up there with Lars and um a lot of other like bands, drummers and stuff. And he played so fast. So I'm sitting there watching on the couch. I'm like, how in the hell, if something happens to Neil, how the fuck can I like replicate this?
Mm-hmm.
Cause he drummed so fast. He was so good at it. But yeah, they almost made their big break until Neil dropped out and he's like, I
Do
don't
you
want to
remember
do it
what was
anymore.
the name of the band? Do you remember?
Lucia Mad.
Luge.
Oh god, man, that's that you're. I'm trying to. That's been 20 some years ago, and I'm just like Lucia Mad. Like, yeah, Lucia Mad. That was their name. They stuck
How
with
say it
Lucia.
again for me slowly?
Lucia Mad.
Like MAD, Mad.
Yeah, MAD Mad.
Lucia Mad. Hmm.
Yeah, Lucia Mad.
Hmm.
That's been 20 some years ago,
Right. Right.
and I used to, they go to, hit bars and, with their open mics and, with
Yeah.
their gigs, and I carry their equipment.
And they were out of Texas, huh?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, out of small town, there was another uh band here in East Texas. They got pretty popular. They were called My Remains. Uh one of the guys, I'm gonna tell you, like, one of the guys, I believe he played with My Remains, but he left. But he moved to Los Angeles. And do you remember the blonde headed girl off of old school that was doing the KY jelly wrestling?
No.
Oh my God, you have not seen old
Oh,
school?
I've seen old school. I mean, but I don't remember that. I
You don't remember. I remember that KY jelly wrestling thing. They was topless.
oh boy.
The girls were yeah, the girls was topless, but
Yeah.
the blonde chick was topless. He married her, and he's also he was on tour with Madonna, so he was Madonna's bass player.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's from here.
No
He's
shit.
from here in East Texas. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. But Mara Maines actually was pretty popular. I mean, they were pretty well known, not only just here in East Texas, but like like different parts, like Los Angeles and stuff. They were that was getting pretty big, and then they disbanded and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you know Rodney Carrington, excuse me.
I mean, the name sounds familiar. Right? What is that? Who is that?
Rodney Carrington he's a comedian.
Okay.
He had a show on ABC called Rodney. He's like but me and him, we both share the same theater teacher.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah, I was like, what? Rodney Carrington and I share the same theater teacher?
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty cool.
Heck
So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he had like a pretty popular ABC sitcom called Rodney.
Hmm.
I don't know if it ran like 2 seasons. I believe it was 2 seasons that he did, 2 or 3 seasons. But yeah, it was pretty popular on ABC. I think it was back in late back in the early 20s. I mean, 2000s. Yeah, it
All
was
right.
back in 2000s. But yeah. Um. So my next question to you,
All
I
right.
asked it with all of them. What is your perspective on horror? What's your take on horror? What's your perspective?
Well, it's very hard to pull off. I think horror is the maybe the hardest uh, genre to 100% stick, you know,
Mhm.
because you have to create this feeling of unease and
Mhm.
uncertainty and dread. All of that has to happen. And you have to evoke this primal fear. And particularly with today's audiences,
Mhm.
I feel like we are desensitized. So it's even more difficult now than, let's say, how it, there are kids, there are teenagers that watch The Exorcist now, and they're not frightened. You know, they think it's some of them think it's laughable, and it's like, but that wasn't the case when The Exorcist came out. The Exorcist is,
Mhm.
to me, one of the greatest horror films of all time. It's beautiful, and it still gets me. I was raised, Catholic, and there was kind of a sense of, let's say, a naivety in my upbringing. So
Mhm.
it affected me decently. A lot of horror did, but for the kids now that, they have 2,000 channels to choose from and the internet, uh, well, hell, they can just, click a button and go watch somebody get his head cut off in real life, you know? So,
Yeah.
so a horror movie, like being able to scare somebody in a horror movie is like, I don't think I've achieved that yet. And I don't know, I may never be able to achieve that. I'll certainly try. I'm never going to quit trying, but um originally I was trying to make Hellvan scary. I wanted it to
Mhm.
be frightening. And then in the writing process and in the filming process, I realized, no, this may be impossible. The way I've approached this
Mhm.
is, I took too much of a warrior's approach to the film to
Mhm.
make it frightening, to set the tone. I set the tone in a different genre, and
Mhm.
uh, and also the movie's about a killer van. It would be laughable to try and make it scary. So I have to walk this line of reality, fantasy, and
Mhm.
so yeah. Will I be able to pull it off with Hellvan Part Two? Probably not, but who knows? Maybe something else.
I think you can pull it off in Hellman too.
Mm.
I think there's a lot of. I think you have a lot of space um to create that for Hellman too.
Yeah,
It may work and it may not. You may have that like in another film in the future. But I really do agree with how as a society, like you said, like you said, The Exorcist scared you, and because you was raised in in Catholicism.
right.
I watched The Exorcist too. Um, it just it was okay to me,
Yeah,
but it just didn't scare me.
it didn't scare you.
Um, it didn't scare me, and I think it's because I'm gonna tell you what really scared me as a kid. Um, television show Incredible Hulk, Bruce Banner with Bill Bixby,
Yeah,
and the reason why when uh, he went through that transformation of the Incredible Hulk
right,
is because he got angry,
right.
and when he got angry, he transformed into the Incredible Hulk. Um, but when during all the little his eyes and the transformation and stuff, I used to hide behind a couch because I hide behind the couch because I'm like this nice man that has been accused of so much crap, and then he go, this gamma rays like hit him,
I was like, man, he had like such like a shitty like ride through like his life. His wife is dead, and I was like, he just had it, and then of course the gamma rays, attracted to his DNA and absorbed it and stuff, and then he changes into the Incredible Hulk. And I was like, man, this man is so nice. He's been through so much shit, and he changes into this monster. And then people think he is, you mean he looks like a monster, but really he's there to like kind of like help people and stuff. But I cried and I was scared of him. But
Wow.
he was, yeah, I mean I was like little and I like cry I like bawled my eyes out because I felt so bad for him.
Hmm.
But it scared the shit out of me because he was just in conflict with himself. It was like, am I still a man or I'm still a monster? And it goes back to Frankenstein.
Right.
And I read Frankenstein. I'm a big book reader and everything. I love reading books. Um I felt the same way about Frankenstein too. But Incredible Hulk scared me. I know when the popularity of Nightmare on Elm Street um was really big. Um at 6 years old, had a home invasion. There was a guy that was hiding in the closet, and my brother, and it scared the shit out of my brother and I.
Oh wow.
Scared the shit out of my mom when she flipped the lights on, telling us, like yelling at us, "I'll take your ass to pass and quit talking," you
Right.
know. And there's this guy, we could have got killed. I mean, the guy could have done something to my brother and I. I mean, we
Oh
was
wow.
paralyzed in fear. And
Right.
that's when Freddy Krueger, and that scared me because I'm like, damn, Freddy Krueger is actually real, but it was actually a guy that hid in the closet, stealing stuff, but he heard us, so he hid in the closet. We don't
He
know
hid in
how
the
long he
closet.
was
Well,
in
we're
that
lucky
closet.
that we're lucky that he wasn't a crazy murderer. Jeez Louise.
Exactly. So I was like, from that, I was like afraid of Freddy Krueger.
Hmm.
And I was like, man, Freddy Krueger could be coming out the closet, but I had this fear, and I just got over that fear after my grandmother passed away in July. I usually leave the light on and have the closet door open, and
Hmm.
then after she passed away, it's something to me just turn off the light and just shut the closet door,
Oh
and
wow.
that was it. That took me 38 years
Wow.
to get over that fear.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so um it's a lot of things that I feel that, like you said, like you have the streaming service, you have the you know, uh 2000 channels. Uh but it's a different time because kids, like you said, people are so desensitized to like horror. Now they have an elevated horror. Um have you watched Midsummer?
No, I haven't seen that.
You need to watch it. Um that scared the poop out of me right there too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it takes place in the daylight.
Right.
It is. It takes place in the daylight. That like got me like, oh shit. I'm like, oh
Hmm.
my gosh. That had me having a heart attack. I'm like, I'm having a heart attack from this movie.
Right.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. It deals with a lot of issues from trauma bonds, everything.
Okay.
I call it the ultimate breakup movie.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll have to watch it. I'll have to. My co-producer Louis Delbane, he was
Uh-huh.
raving about it, but I just sometimes I just I mean I live behind a movie theater, and sometimes my finances and my psychology just aren't in a line to just go to the movies. And uh yeah, man, I think that last movie I went and saw was Doctor Strange and the Mouth of
Multiverse.
Madness, not the Mouth of Madness, and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. But
Yeah.
yeah, and that's only I only went and saw that because Sam Raimi was the director, and it just felt like Sam Raimi was parodying himself, is how I felt.
You know what?
Yeah.
Since you mentioned Sam Raimi, I
Yeah.
did feel some Evil Dead and there's some Sam Raimi up in there in Hellvan. I really did.
Oh yeah, no, he's a big inspiration. He's a hero to me. Sam
He,
Raimi, J.R. Bookwalter, he's out of Akron, Ohio. He made a movie called The Dead Next Door.
mm-hmm.
That's a big one. That's one I love. Oh, I just rewatched Killer Nerd. That's a Kent
Hmm.
filmmaker. His name is Wayne Allen Harold. I watched that at Cinema Wasteland this weekend. And let's see. Yeah, I'm more inspired by the low budget, no budget guys that are, you know, making something fun and memorable to watch. Sam Raimi is one of my heroes, though, because he turned Evil Dead into this $1 million franchise and an amazing career. And
He sure did. And
yeah,
you know, that's facts on facts like chicken racks on racks right there because I have Evil Dead 2,
hmm
Army of Darkness. I mean, he's coming back with Darkman. Oh my goodness, I love damn Darkman.
Dark Man was
Damn,
good.
Darkman was shit though.
That's Liam Neeson, I think, who's the
Yeah.
original Dark Man.
The late Larry Drake playing Durant.
hmm
Oh man, Larry Drake, and then you know Larry Drake also was Dr. Giggles.
Oh yeah, that's
Woo,
right. That's right. Doctor Giggles.
woo.
Huh.
Larry Drake was something tough when Larry. Okay, you ever remember that show L.A. Law? I mean, I
Yeah.
was younger.
I
I
mean,
was
I
like,
know the show. I don't think I've ever really watched it.
I, I mean, I seen some of it when I was younger, and I was like, this is too adult. I'm like, this isn't look. It looks boring.
Yeah.
But Larry Drake, he played a guy on there that worked at the lawyer's office. Um, with he was with mental disability,
Yeah.
and he played the hell out of that role too, because everybody thought he was in real life. No, when he was on Darkman playing Durant as the villain, he surprised the crap out of audience. They're like, "Whoa, you play this guy who's all nice and sweet, and he's he has like a mental disability, and then you playing this guy that's a villain. He's like killing everybody, and then he went over Doctor Giggles. uh I think yeah, Holly Marine Combs was in it. She was on Charm. She played Piper. And then he went on to Dr. Giggles, and oh man, Larry Drake was dude, he was amazing playing a villain. I like when actors have like their different acting range instead of just being pigeonholed in the same
Right.
role.
Right.
But when he was played Durant with Sam Raimi, and like how Sam Raimi style, especially with Spider-Man, because this is not his first time directing a Marvel character, Spider-Man. So when I seen Raimi work, I was like, wait a minute, that's Raimi right there. I, I'm like, shit, that's damn Raimi though. I was like, you just know Raimi's signature.
Yeah, he's got a style. It's him.
He does.
hmm
He's got a signature style, and you just can't forget it. I mean, because if you were a big huge fan, we came out with Evil Dead. I remember my son; he was around 3 years old. I come back from I don't know work or whatever. He's listening to the commentary. He's 3 years old, 3 or 4 years old, listening to the commentary. And
Wow.
he comes up to me and he's like, "Mom, they use oatmeal for the special effects on so forth of the demon." But no, he listened to the commentary. Had Bruce Campbell, I believe Raimi was on it too. Yeah, he was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Ted was in his brother Ted. Um, Actually, my ex boyfriend, he seen Sam Raimi. He has a picture. He did a signing with Sam Raimi. He had a picture with Sam Raimi
Oh,
and
nice.
Ted. And I was like, motherfucker, I'm jealous of you. He's like sitting there like, look, there's Sam Raimi with me. Look,
Right.
there's Ted. You know, I'm like, fuck you, dude. But 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 yeah, like that's like how much of an influence that Sam Raimi has on my kids.
Yeah. Wow.
And I mean even Army of Darkness. And also Bruce Campbell. He's like the same thing. My son's like 3 or 4 years old, and he does the scene, out of Army of Darkness, the boomstick. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, you talking
Mm-hmm.
about my daughter and I was just hacking up lungs and crying and just falling just off the bed. He did it so perfectly, and he did it one time like one of my friends, and he just went on with a boomstick whole, dialogue and the it was hilarious. It was. I actually seen Bruce Campbell, but he was like on something called I forgot what it was, but he was pretending to be a game show host, and he actually did say something to me and then I froze because I was like, oh shit, Bruce Campbell's
Oh,
me. I
bro,
was like,
it's the classic. Right,
I know.
you blew your chance.
I blew my chance because I
Uh,
was like, Fudge. I'm like, Bruce Campbell is talking to me.
right.
No.
Sheesh.
I know. And then at the end of the night, they were having autographs, and they had like the 3 rows that was closer to the stage to come, and they can get autographs from Bruce Campbell. And my son, we tried so hard. My son just broke down crying.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so glad the guy I just told you, my ex-boyfriend at the time I was going out with him, he consoled my son. I was like, oh, thank God I'm going out with him.
Well, that's good.
because and he handled it too, and I was just like, that is very sweet, But my son, he was so brokenhearted because he wanted to meet his hero. He wanted to meet Bruce Campbell so bad and get an autograph. I really did.
Well, it doesn't have to be the last opportunity.
Oh no, it doesn't have to be his last opportunity. Only time he just need to get off his video games with that Twitch. I,
Yeah.
I have Twitch too. But he's 15, so I'm just waiting for the time whenever he gets tired of the computer games. I mean, I play video games too, but gee whiz, I'm just like, man, y'all get too involved with it.
It becomes their lives.
It
Yeah.
does, it does,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just taking away everything. It's like really hard, and because I don't know, he throws a tantrum like, are you gonna do that when you get older?
Well,
And
you have to maybe have a conversation with them about it.
I
Okay.
do. And yeah, I was like, well, if this keeps up, I'm sending you to your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, no. Okay, keep it up, dude. He's a cool kid and everything. It's just teenager angst
It's
crap.
cool.
It was like, what did I like remember from my teenage years?
Yeah.
Crap. Yeah, that's how I looked at it. Crap. I'm like, I can't wait to get to be an adult. Crap.
Yeah, being an adult, it's not all it's cracked up to be, huh?
I actually enjoy being an adult.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I actually do. I don't maybe it's just because I was just raised around old people.
Uh,
Yeah, so I really don't connect a lot with my age group. I
yeah.
connect with older people.
Hmm.
Strange, but I don't know, gives you an advantage, but it can leave you at a disadvantage, especially with the socialization.
Yeah.
Oh well. Well, we're going to go ahead and close out the show.
All right.
So, Jorge,
Yes.
let the horror audience, the horror fiends out there, let them know where they can find you and everything else. Take it away,
Sure.
sir.
Well, hey, Hellvan is actually screening at Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky on Sunday around 3 p.m. It's the Scarefest Film Festival. That's October 23rd, Sunday around 3 p.m. at Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky. That's the next upcoming screening. And if you're in the Northeast Ohio area, we're having a house party on the October 28th, bands and the backyard screening. And then October 29th, we're doing a matinee rock show at No Class in Cleveland and showing the movie there. And then that also at the same venue that night is Venom and Ringworm performing. So that night's going to be pretty ripping. And beyond that, if you would like a DVD or a Blu-ray, you kind of have to find me at a convention because I'm holding out for a distribution deal, and so I don't mind, you know, selling them uh, person to person. But I'm not prepared to go to the post office every day and ship these things out. So you got to find me at a con, and who knows? Maybe I'll get a digital distribution deal and get some money to make a sequel. It'd be pretty awesome. But until then, you're just gonna have to take Texas Horror Babes word for it that the movie's fun.
It definitely is fun. And thank you for that. Dang, I wanna come up there for the little house party.
Yeah,
I wanna come to Ohio.
Ohio's a trip.
I bet it is. I mean, like, I know people ask me like, "What are you doing for Halloween?" I'm like, "I'm working." I usually have something for Halloween,
Yeah,
but this year it's just been so super busy
yeah.
and booked up with gigs and everything else. Like I get ready for tax season, and
Oh Lord.
I have no costume. I have nothing prepared whatsoever. And I thought about it. I was like, you know what? It's probably because I need a free weekend, like just a little vacation somewhere
Hmm.
quiet.
You
I
gotta
mean,
you gotta have self love. You gotta dedicate time for yourself. You know.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And it's been a while too.
Oh
And
boy. Oh boy.
I know, right?
All right.
But
Yeah.
thank you so much, Jorge, and thank you for and your crew and everybody of just making this fabulous one hell of a ride called Hellband.
Keisha
And
Lacey, I truly appreciate it. I do. Uh, Thank you so much for promoting us.
I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I like for another one to come out. I like for everybody to succeed and stuff like
Yeah.
hey.
Well,
But that's
time will tell. I don't know. I'm developing the script. The mechanics of the script are, the gears are grinding in my brain, and as I'm there's a lot of things grinding in my brain, and that's one of them. So
hey,
that's where beer comes in. Beer's a great lubricant for letting it out.
I'm cracking up laughing. You said actually for me it's Hennessy or some weed, just a little bit, not a lot.
Right, right,
I some beers I can't. I'm like I do hard liquor,
right.
some coffee, some tea. But no, I gave up my beer drinking days. I had too many Budweisers, and I see people like drinking Budweiser. I'm like, man, that is some high school, junior high shit right there. You should have thrown out.
Well,
Taste, man, like have taste.
everybody's got a poison.
Everybody does have a poison. I mean, I was just like, it is what it is. Thank you so much, Jorge. You have been a complete gem. Thank you so so much. And people find him on Instagram. Slow Mutants. Was it Slow Mutants?
Just slow
Productions. Or
mutants, all one word.
find him on Slow Mutants. Follow him, and whatever he like announces, please do pay attention, read, and go check him out when he's at a con, whatever he's like having like these promotions. Please do that because y'all don't sleep on Hellbent. This movie's the shit. All right, thank you so much,
Thank you.
and no, thank you. I'm thank you for just damn, just thank you. I was just looking at me. I got a Kool-Aid. I got a Kool-Aid
How do
smile.
we do? What's our time at here? Uh,
Yeah.
man, I have to sign in again to sign in as guest. Jeez, Louise, guest.
All right. Well, all right then. Thank you so much, Jorge. And this is the Random Horror Show.